Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Living to Do, Married at First Sight Review. Season 13, Episode 13. Tears, Jeers, and 25-cent martinis. I thank you, everyone, for stopping by. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking the channel to help it grow, I would really appreciate it. Tonight's episode was a pretty good episode, I thought. It was kind of meaty. A lot of things were going on. So let's start off with talking about Rachel and Jose. Even though a lot went on, I think the least amount of things occurred with this couple. Every couple, all the couples met with Pastor Cal or Dr. Pepper individually. So we'll talk about Rachel and Jose first. Jose meets with Dr. Pepper. And he comes in all goody two-shoes. He explains the relationship to how he sees it to Dr. Pepper. Very analytical. He did say that he wants to be a provider. He thought that's what women wanted. So he came in with being a good provider. But, of course, he went overboard, and he doesn't know where the middle ground is of just being a good provider for his wife. Dr. Pepper said that she believes that Jose is controlling. I guess they've seen clips of them living together, their interactions, so they know the ups and downs of what's going on. And it's clear. And I must say, Dr. Pepper was so good during this episode. I hear a lot of people talking about her, but she knows what she's doing. And she's not afraid to speak when she needs to speak. I think she's kind in her delivery, informative, and I think people listen to her because they respect her. And she was telling some good things to Jose and the rest of the individuals that she met up with. She said, try seeing the world as your partner sees the world. So, and that's a good idea because, first of all, Jose doesn't listen. He needs to take a moment, take a beat to consider Rachel and what she might want, like traveling. She stated that before she entered the marriage that she likes to travel. He should be more considerate of what she wants and not try to down what she wants, like traveling in the state of Texas. Nobody wants to do that. Where are you going to take her? Plano, Texas? He needs to be just more considerate. Get to know her wants and her desires, her dreams, what's important to her. And see the world through her eyes. Just take some time to understand somebody else's point of view or perspective on things. It's not all what you want. It's not on a whiteboard. We're living real lives here. And I thought that was good advice that she gave him. I don't know if you've ever even thought about something like that. He did mention their epic outburst of more than that, yelling match and locking her out of the house. Now, what he told Dr. Pepper is that when things get rough for Rachel, she bounces. And I'm like, or she gets locked out. I mean, you did that to her. And he talks about trust. Trust, you got to earn trust, Jose. But they had a good meeting. So far, so good with that. Rachel, she meets with Pastor Cal. First thing she tells Pastor Cal is that she believes Jose is the man for her, which is great. And I think they had a really good meeting. She did tell Pastor Cal she felt that her husband was vindictive. He asked her to ask him what triggers him being vindictive. So when Rachel and Jose meet up, she asks that very question, what are the triggers to make you vindictive? First, he says he needs time to cool off. That's not a trigger. But then he says that he didn't see love in his parents' marriage because Jose's parents are divorced. And I know that Jose's father is remarried to Julie, his stepmom. So not much happened. They seem to be going along pretty good. Even after that incident, I can't understand why Rachel's even there. But they're getting along so far, so good. Okay, next up is Brett and Ryan. The first scene we see of this couple is actually Ryan. Ryan is still filming Brett's mess. Just tell her already. I mean, it's sad that she needs to be told. I don't know if that's all for production, that they set her up that way, or if she's really that messy. But I can see why someone could have a real serious problem with that. Maybe have a conversation, maybe like your first conversation. But they do meet up with the experts, and Brett meets with Pastor Cal. And he asked, she tells him that if Ryan wants to still be in this relationship, that she still will work towards it. Everyone knows that they're not doing well. Brett seems checked out. Brett says during the honeymoon, they were moving in the right direction. There were little pecks, kisses, they were touching each other. And, but once they got home, something happened. She tells Pastor Cal that there's no intimacy. They don't talk about their feelings. So Pastor Cal ask the question, when did he give up and why? So we see Ryan meets with Dr. Pepper. And we learned that he did say later that he is afraid, he's scared of Dr. Pepper. Good. But they talk. And he does indicate to her that things fell off for him when they met up with Dr. Viviana. I think maybe, I don't know exactly what happened. He just got more in touch with his feelings. You had a conversation, but it just fell apart, it seemed, after that. I don't recall what was said to make him feel so differently about Brett. He does know that there's a communication problem. They need to communicate more. Dr. Pepper says he needs to be more vocal. It's evident he doesn't talk much, and be more constructive. And he mentions again, I heard him say this before, and that he knows he's in love when you value someone else's life more than your own. And definitely that's not happening with Brett and Ryan. Dr. Pepper says you don't know each other and that he hasn't tried, which is true. She says to do things differently, make more effort. He promises to make more effort in the coming weeks that they have together. I think it's like 17 days. It's not a lot, but he says he's going to make more of an effort. After they meet with the experts, Brett and Ryan meet up with each other. There's an avoidance of communication, maybe on both parts, or maybe Brett is waiting for Ryan to take the lead. And Brian says how they stress each other out internally because they're not getting nowhere. So, and Brett didn't do what Pastor Cal asked her to do, is to ask Brett when things fell off. She seemed to be avoiding that conversation. I think she doesn't want to be the one to initiate things, and I feel her on that. she wants Ryan to, and he's just not making enough of an effort for her or for anyone else. I don't see him. He says he is, but I still don't see it. Ryan meets with Johnny. They go and play pool. And Ryan tells Johnny that he's not feeling the relationship. I noticed that Johnny and Ryan hang out a lot. They were on their honeymoon. When they were on the honeymoon, it was Johnny and Ryan that went to Zach's door. I think gave him some beer or wine at his door while he suffered from C19. And Johnny says, and has the nerve to say, that Ryan is negative. Is that where he gets it from? Because he's the one negative. I think it's so interesting that these two are always hanging out, and these are the two that have both been committed to their wives. They're non-committal, and I don't know if that's a bro thing. They gravitate to one another. The two that are not really doing that well in their relationship. It's just kind of interesting. We also see Brett meet with Alexa. Alexa is Ryan's sister. She wants to know more about Brian. She thought Alexa would be the best person for her to speak to. She wants to know how to get to Ryan. She says that Ryan will tell you what you want to hear, or he'll walk away. And I've seen that. He's kind of not really talked to Brett directly about how he feels about her. He kind of tiptoes around that subject, or he doesn't say anything at all. And I guess that's the walk away, avoidance. It's avoidance. She says that once they came home, he changed. And then Alexa said something very interesting, that she thinks that he may be thinking about someone else. When he got home, that's when things changed. His feelings changed, because there might be someone else, which is very interesting. This scene should have been on last week's episode, Is There Someone Else? Because Alexa is the sister. He will talk to the sister. She might even know that he was dating somebody, and she might know how long they dated. She might know who broke it off, who was at fault for the breakup. She has some insights. For her to give that to Brett makes me believe there is somebody else, because she would know if there was or not, most likely. Should have been in last week's episode. Okay, let's get to Gil and Mirla. Gil and Mirla, they meet up with the experts. First, we see Gil meet with Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal asked him how he was feeling. He says, much better after he got his kiss. And he's all smiles. And Pastor Cal says, so sooky now, with his red, bright socks. Pastor Cal loves funky socks, I've noticed. Pastor Cal asks Gil about Decision Day, and if there's going to be any issues, and what are some of the things that would make him say no. And that would be Mirla's demeanor, that she's a Debbie Downer, that negativity is too much for Gil. And if it continues, it just might be the thing that breaks the camel's back for him. Pastor Cal tells him that negativity is a cancer in a relationship. And they showed a lot of montage clips of Mirla in the past complaining about this and this and that. And Gil doesn't want her negativity to change his demeanor. I'm glad he recognizes that. I've always liked Gil. He's always been on point. And I'm glad he has a good sense of himself. Though he is, riding through this, there is an issue, and it's clear what that issue is. It's clear to me too. And he's able to articulate what he's feeling in a very adult manner. I really like Gil, always have. Okay, Mirla, she makes an entrance with her drunk self. Production asked how she's feeling. It's really interesting. I don't remember production talking to anybody else like this, but because she comes in, I guess she went out drinking with her friends and drinking 25-cent martinis. In fact, when they asked her how she's feeling, she says lovely after having 25-cent martinis. I just want to know how many martinis did she have, because she was a different person. In fact, I must say I liked her better. She had more of a personality instead of that Debbie Downer. She had to get with Gil when she's like that. She spoke to Dr. Pepper. She comes in apparently the wrong way. Dr. Pepper is expecting her to come in one direction, and this child came in from a totally different direction because she's drunk. And and Mirla thought she did have a long walk. I wonder, were there signs? There's production there. They should tell her where to go, or if she just went on her own. And the way she's been acting and the way she is drunk like she is, I could see her just stumbling along on her own and not following directions. I really like her so much better this way. Dr. Pepper, of course, knows about her and about her being very critical. Mirla says that she's very honest and blunt. But that can be just cruel, if you're just going to be brutally honest to somebody. That's really mean. Mirla was very different. I don't know if it was alcohol, but she's crying. We see her crying as she's talking to Dr. Pepper. She says she's very happy that, I guess Gil is more than she ever asked for. He makes her very, very happy. And Dr. Pepper suggests that she works on her negativity. So Gil and Mirla, they meet up, and Mirla is still drunk. They talk about their meetings that they had. Gil asked Mirla how did her meeting go, and she thought it was going to be boring. Debbie Downer. In fact, Gil brings up some issues that he has, her being a Debbie Downer, and why is she like that? She says she's an introvert, but I don't know why that would have to go side by side with being a Debbie Downer. Gil asks, what kind of things can he do so she won't feel like that? And Mirla says to make her laugh, and that's what he's been doing. That's a distraction for her. That's just good. And Gil suggests that she be more considerate of other people and how she's making them feel. It's very important to him. He makes a suggestion that when you feel like you're moody, that she should be more affectionate. He believes if you're more affectionate, it will help with the moodiness. And he tells her that, he doesn't want her moodiness to change his demeanor. Hey, I'm with you, Gil. What you're asking for is not too much. And I want to see if she can work on it, if that's even possible for her. That remains to be seen. Okay, let's make our way over to Bao and Johnny. Oh, Johnny. He's getting to be too much. So we see Johnny and Bao. They're talking in bed. And did you notice that fixture on their wall above their bed was down past the backboard of their bed? That thing was a little too low, that little orange fixture. Anyway, they're talking, and Johnny's saying that they need to build a foundation, that they're lacking trust, communication, and friendship. I don't understand Johnny. I don't get him. He says a lot, has a lot of words. I don't know if he knows what he's saying. He's contradicting himself. Friendship, has he tried to be a friend to Bao? He hasn't tried to be a friend to Bao. Communication, oh, he talks, but when she speaks, he has these stern looks, like he's so upset, angry, turning red, ripping roses, walking away. What? Trust? You can't trust anybody like that. He lacks all these things for him to say that their relationship, it's him lacking. And he thinks the relationship should be built more through a friendship. And Bao thinks, if they're on just a friendship, that it would be hard to get to the next level. Bao thinks Johnny is a hypocrite. Bao says she feels forced to do what Johnny wants to do. And it is that way. It seems that way. It's only him one-sided. It's always what he wants. Did he even ask what she wants? What they want as a marriage? I don't know what's in his head. He does a lot of talking. Talk about these things. I don't see what he says to move things forward. He says he's not happy. I don't understand him. He's not happy. He's just not a happy person. Bao's not going to make you happy. You're going to be happy on your own. Bao and Johnny needs to show Bao what he wants. How do you want her to treat you? You be her, and you be Bao, and show how you want Bao to treat you, because I'm not understanding what he wants from her. I don't get it. I'm just so baffled by him. I can't wait. I just can't wait for this to be over for Bao, because it's not good to watch. I don't like it. It's like kind of upsetting my stomach a little bit. Johnny meets with Dr. Pepper, and he tells Dr. Pepper that when he's with Bao, he's someone he doesn't want to be. Which is what? I don't know. He says they don't argue well. Again, that's you. This woman is speaking to you very kindly in a calm voice. You're making faces and twitching and leaving the room, yelling in another room, leaving the house. You're the one who can't argue well. It's you. Dr. Pepper says he needs to learn new ways to deal with his anger and disappointment. He needs to find new ways of communication, structure maybe for their conversation that he has with Bao to get from point A to point B. Maybe, I don't know. She needs to be there when they're talking to see what he's doing. He needs to get on board with himself. I totally agree with that. He's so confusing, just baffling. I don't know what he wants. Bao meets with Pastor Cal, and she's checked out, she says. She's been cut down a lot. She thinks Johnny is actually 80% out of the door. She thinks she's being cheated out of a perfectly good marriage. Yeah, there was her chance to meet with somebody and maybe start a life with them, but not with somebody like Johnny. Johnny needs a lot of work on himself before he gets in any other relationship. He's the one that needs to do the work. She doesn't want to be treated with such malice. She's frustrated because he's so mean to her. She says that he's not emotionally mature. So true. He's not emotionally mature to be a father or a husband. So true. She's spot on with that. He needs to spend some time with himself. Pastor Kell says that she should keep the relationship, their conversation at a level 1. Just play nice and see if Johnny can go deeper. She says anything deeper and Johnny, it cuts Johnny in some weird way. that is so true. Anytime someone speaks to, well, actually, when Bao speaks to him, it's Bao. I haven't noticed that with the expert, even though when Johnny was speaking with Dr. Pepper, he was very fidgety in his chair. He probably wanted to get up and run. Pastor Cal says that you build a foundation through adversity. That's great. It is true. If something bad happens, if you work together, how you work together shows if you can be together. You build it on that. But Johnny is just really mean to Bao. They do meet up and they talk, and Johnny is apologizing to Bao. It doesn't seem all that sincere, and I think Bao says that. She doesn't want to be judged. Nobody does. And she doesn't want to see patterns of them having an argument and Johnny leaving the house. And she doesn't want him to talk to her meanly, just very, very cruel. Then he comes around a corner and he says something cruel again. He was telling her there was no chemistry the first time they met. That's why things didn't take off, which Bao is skeptical about his words, because when they were back on the honeymoon, he seemed to like her. In fact, she said she had a great butt. And he tells that to the camera, and he seems like he really likes her. And one other thing he did, they had that little picnic, and he was trying to tell her how he felt, which was he really liked her. So what are you talking about? Why was there chemistry at that moment? I don't get this guy. He's constantly complaining about her. He just has a list of things that he can't stand about her. And he talks about her, she's too giddy, she lies, she's no fun, she doesn't initiate sex. And mentioned the snoring, that was kind of sort of a complaint, and that she's too serious. Oh my God, I'm so baffled by Johnny. I don't get him. I don't get him. I wonder what the experts think of him. He's very confusing. Very confusing. I see why Bao is frustrated with him. She doesn't know where, I think she knows where she stands for the most part on the other side of the wall, because they're not getting along. But I don't get him. And I want her to be relieved of this misery that is Johnny. And I want this relationship to be over for her, because nobody should have to sit in this. He's just too much, too mean, and he's really not worth it. Okay, our last couple is Zach and Michaela. Zach and Michaela, they meet up with the counselors. First we see it was Michaela meeting up with Pastor Cal. They're having questions, they're talking, and they want to know, or Michaela brings up, she wants to know, what picture does Zach see when he thinks of marriage? And that's a question that Pastor Cal thinks that she should ask Zach. She talks about them having their good times and their bad times. They've only had 1 week of a good time and 3 or 4 weeks of a bad time. She wants to see Zach happy. But she also says that she doesn't think she should be responsible for another grown person's happiness. And Pastor Cal said that she should be contributing to her partner's happiness, and that she shouldn't be the sole reason for his happiness or unhappiness. He asked her, do you want this marriage more than you don't want it? That's some thought that she has to give to that question. Zach meets with Dr. Pepper, And he says he doesn't know if he's happy. He says he's a perfectionist. And Dr. Pepper says that this experiment is basically an opportunity for them to love. She doesn't think it's meant to be. It's an opportunity for them to see if it can be. He says that he needs to make, or Dr. Pepper says that Zach needs to make Michaela feel more secure in the relationship. He realized that she shouldn't have to tiptoe around him and all his issues. He's very fragile, and he's actually crying in the conversation with Dr. Pepper. He doesn't think he's good enough. He knows he shouldn't have that mindset. And I was just thinking, he says he doesn't know if he's happy. And a perfectionist is never happy. That battle with yourself, if you're good enough and this and that is stressing him out. I mean, you could see it in the way he moves. He's a little agitated at times. He definitely needs a psychiatrist. He needs someone to prescribe him medication, like Xanax or something. He needs to calm his brain and stop overthinking. That's troublesome. That's why he's so fidgety. After both of them talk to the experts, they meet up with each other, and Zach says again to Michaela that he is a perfectionist. This is why his other relationships never worked out. And they have another conversation about happiness. She wants to know what happiness looks like to him. And he says with a wife, kids, listening to music, that's everybody's idea. But life is not like that every day. There's ups and downs. There's going to be trials and tribulations. You're going to have issues. You have to learn to work together when you have those issues. You can't just have just the good times. There's going to be the bad times. And the real test is, how do you get through the bad times together? Michaela says her goals in a relationship is to be romantic. She wants a romantic relationship. I think she just wants love is basically how I hear that. And who doesn't? I think they both do. I think hers is really more emotional, what she wants out of the marriage. And he sees the marriage as a big picture. He doesn't really talk about love, but he does talk about happiness. Now Michaela says she can't see a future with them. There's a lot going on, and for this few weeks that you've been together, and there's been a lot of blow-ups and misunderstanding, I can understand why she doesn't see a future with him. They go as a group to play sand volleyball, after which Zach and Michaela are at their home. I guess they had a conversation that if that day was decision day, what would the decision be? And it seems like they both said no, or Michaela says she doesn't know, Zach says no, or it seems more like it's going to be a no. So she doesn't want to sleep in the same bed with him. Zach says that's going to cause more problems, if they're not sleeping in the same bed. So I think she's hurt by this. And so if Zach says if she's not going to sleep in the same bed, then he's going to go home. Apparently, I guess maybe he has a better bed at home. And I have to side with Michaela on this one. Because if it's not going to work out, why would she give her body to you? I think that's what it was about mainly. I mean, they didn't say that, but I think they're, having sex, and maybe she just doesn't want to anymore. If this man doesn't want her, I get that. I totally get that. So the next day, I guess like Michaela's supposed to talk to, looks like Zach's friends on a Zoom call. But instead he talks to them. He asked if they had heard from her. They said no, and that she got a text from Zach, or I'm sorry, Zach got a text from Michaela saying that she's going to move out, and she got all her stuff and she left. So, of course, Zach doesn't know, where he stands in all this. It's also a problem that this girl picks up, literally moves all her stuff. She doesn't leave for the night. She takes her belongings and she gets going. And of course, that is not conducive to a healthy relationship. I think they just should end it. If you're going to be so rocky like this, please get these people out of their misery. It's not even fun to watch or interesting to watch. It's just kind of painful at times. It's just so much hurt. Not transferring that hurt to me. I thought it was a very, very good episode tonight. So it looks like next week they're going to have the big blow up from Michaela. Other than that, I don't know. I guess the volleyball thing. The only thing that happened additionally at the volleyball group meetup was that Bao came out in a cheerleading costume, and Johnny gave her a hug unexpectedly, and Bao commented on that. She didn't know where that came from. I guess she was off-putting to her a little bit, so much so that she mentioned it. But other than that, nothing else really happened at the sand volleyball group meetup. So that's about it. Next week looks really, really good. I can't wait to see what happened with Michaela and why she blew up the way she did. And I want to know how long she had her little episode. It will be very interesting to see. So I'll be back next week for that. So that is it for this episode, this review. Again, I would like to ask that you please subscribe to this channel and like it and possibly share this video. I really would appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. And that's all for now. I got to get going because I got living to do. Thank you. Bye-bye.